Reincarnation usually means starting from the bottom, but what if you respawned with absolute world-breaking power? Here are the 10 best overpowered protagonist reincarnation anime. Starting our countdown at number 10, The Faraway Paladin. Raised by an undead warrior, a ghost wizard, and a mummy priest in a ruined city, Will awakens in a fantasy world after a stagnant past life. Learning combat, magic, and religion from his unusual guardians, he eventually uncovers the truth of his reincarnation and sets out to become a truly genuine hero. This show completely redefines the standard isekai formula by treating its fantasy setting with intense sincerity. The emotional weight attached to Will's journey makes his immense strength feel completely earned, rather than randomly gifted. The rich lore and phenomenal character development elevate this above simple power fantasies, delivering a deeply satisfying adventure that captures the true essence of a classic high fantasy. Moving down the rankings to number 9, Seirei Gensuki, Spirit Chronicles. A young university student perishes in a tragic accident and wakes up inside the body of Ryo, an impoverished orphan living in a dangerous slum. Retaining memories of his previous life, Ryo discovers he possesses extraordinary magical abilities. He uses this overwhelming power to ascend society, seeking revenge against his mother's brutal murderers. What makes this series so compelling is the psychological tension between the two identities sharing one mind. Ryo is incredibly ruthless when pushed, making his combat sequences deeply satisfying to watch. The show masterfully blends political intrigue with raw action, creating a dark, gripping narrative where the protagonist is completely unafraid to annihilate anyone who threatens the peaceful life he truly desires. Securing its spot at number 8, The Eighth Son. Are you kidding me? An overworked corporate employee suddenly wakes up as Wendelin, the 8th son of a destitute noble family in a magical realm. Realizing he will inherit absolutely nothing, Wendelin trains his exceptionally rare magical talent to survive. His monumental power soon attracts unwanted political attention, forcing the boy into highly dangerous aristocratic power struggles. Watching a wage slave navigate nobility using raw magical dominance is incredibly entertaining. Wendelin does not just blast his enemies away, he uses his insane capabilities to secure financial independence and social standing. The animation during his spellcasting sequences is crisp, and the pragmatic approach he takes to his overwhelming strength provides a refreshing departure from typical, overly hot-blooded, screaming fantasy protagonists. Landing solidly at number 7, The Strongest Sage with the Weakest Crest. Matthias, the world's most powerful sage, reincarnates thousands of years into the future to obtain a crest better suited for close-quarters combat. He successfully gains his desired mark, only to discover humanity's magical knowledge has severely regressed. Using his ancient expertise and absurd strength, Matthias casually begins dismantling a massive, hidden demon conspiracy. There is something universally enjoyable about a legendary master dunking on arrogant amateurs who think he is weak. The pacing here is extremely fast, meaning you never have to wait long for the protagonist to absolutely obliterate his opponents. It perfectly scratches that itch for a purely dominant main character who solves literally every single problem with overwhelming, spectacularly flashy magical force. Baking up a storm at number 6, Sweet Reincarnation. A brilliant pastry chef dies tragically and reincarnates as Pastry Mille Morton, a young boy in a brutally unforgiving medieval society. Though his ultimate dream is to establish a glorious bakery, he must first use his newly awakened, terrifyingly powerful replication magic to protect his impoverished territory from utterly ruthless, relentless bandit attacks. Do not let the whimsical title fool you. This series features surprisingly gritty political warfare masked by wholesome dessert goals. The contrast between his culinary obsession and his terrifying battlefield supremacy is pure gold. Watching a boy brutally outsmart and overpower hardened mercenaries just so he can finally gather ingredients for an apple pie is undeniably brilliant and completely, endlessly entertaining television. Breaking into our top 5, at number 5, Knights and Magic. A genius software programmer and hardcore mecha fanatic dies, reincarnating as Ernesti in a world where colossal mechanical knights battle demonic beasts. Leveraging his past coding knowledge, Ernesti visualizes magic as programming languages, allowing him to rewrite magical circuits and pilot advanced mechs with a level of skill nobody else can ever match. This anime is an absolute visual treat for anyone who appreciates giant robots and high-speed mechanical combat. Ernesti is a fantastic lead because his overwhelming power comes directly from his pure, infectious obsession with engineering. The studio absolutely nailed the mecha designs, resulting in fluid, explosive battles that will keep your eyes completely glued to the television screen from start to finish. Leveling up at number 4, Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. An exhausted game developer takes a nap and wakes up inside the fantasy RPG he was programming. After accidentally unleashing a massive screen-clearing spell, he instantly wipes out an entire army of monsters, rocketing to the maximum level. Now an invincible god, he decides to hide his stats and casually explore the world. If you want a relaxing journey completely devoid of stressful stakes, this series is a total masterpiece. The protagonist literally starts at the peak of absolute power, turning what should be life-threatening encounters into effortless sightseeing tours. It is brilliantly self-aware, highly entertaining, and delivers that exact power fantasy dopamine hit without forcing the main character to scream through grueling training arcs unnecessarily. Crashing into the top 3 at number 3, Chronicles of an Aristocrat Reborn in Another World. Dying while protecting a stranger, a young man reincarnates as Cain, the third son of a noble family. When baptized by the gods, they mistakenly bless him with absolutely ludicrous divine protections and magic reserves. Forced to hide his world-shaking abilities, Cain still manages to constantly disrupt the entire kingdom's fragile power balance. This anime knows exactly what it is and never pretends otherwise. It leans heavily into the overpowered trope by making Cain so ridiculously strong that the gods themselves panic over his growth. The humor is incredibly sharp, the action is explosive, and watching him accidentally terrify seasoned knights and royalty is a brilliantly fun experience that demands your full, undivided, immediate attention. Taking the runner-up spot at number 2, Parallel World Pharmacy. A legendary medical researcher dies from overwork and awakens in a medieval realm as Pharma de Medicis. Gifted with divine arts to create or erase any molecular substance, he utilizes modern medical knowledge combined with supreme magical authority to cure devastating plagues, fighting against a corrupt medical guild hoarding essential healthcare treatment methods. Swapping explosive fireballs for absolute mastery over human biology is a brilliant twist on the genre. Pharma commands power that rivals actual gods, yet he uses it to single-handedly reform an entire healthcare system. The narrative blends heavy scientific concepts with satisfying magical superiority, creating a highly gripping story where the greatest flex is curing terminal diseases with complete, flawless, absolute precision. And finally, reigning supreme at number 1. The greatest demon lord is reborn as a typical nobody. Varvatos, history's most terrifying demon lord, grows entirely bored of absolute supremacy. Seeking a completely normal life, he reincarnates thousands of years later as a magical nobody named Ard. However, modern magical standards have plummeted so drastically that even Ard's most suppressed casual abilities make him a ridiculously unstoppable, terrifying godlike combat powerhouse. This is the undisputed pinnacle of the overpowered trope, flawlessly executing the concept of a hidden master accidentally breaking the universe. Ard desperately trying to act weak while continuously shattering reality is endlessly hilarious. The breathtaking animation during his magical flexes cements this series as an absolute triumph, delivering exactly what fans of dominating protagonists crave without ever holding anything safely back. When an overpowered main character totally rewrites the rules, every single battle becomes a spectacular masterpiece. These reincarnation stories perfectly demonstrate why absolute dominance is so wildly entertaining to watch. Which ridiculously broken protagonist reigns over your personal favorite anime? Tell me your top choices below.